So what was the worst financial collapse in U.S. history? Well, that's easy. The Wall Street crash of 1929. It was the starter pistol for the Great Depression, a time of great economic and financial distress and unemployment that really lasted for 10 years until the Second World War began, and that sopped up 10 million U.S. workers for that effort. Now, on Black Monday, October 28th, 1929, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, that's a measurement of companies on the stock market, that fell 13%. Now, the next day, called Black Tuesday, it fell another 12%. So in 2 days, a quarter of the wealth of the country was just vaporized, at least on paper. But that led to a domino effect, mass foreclosures on homes and farms and factories, mass unemployment. And I tell you this because China's Shanghai Stock Exchange just fell by 30%. By some measures, about $3.5 trillion worth of wealth just gone. So, I don't know, about 15 Greases. Would have fallen much further if the stock exchange didn't halt trading in literally half of Chinese companies. Imagine that. You can't even get out of the bubble stock market if you want to. It's worse than just a stock market freeze on trading. China's securities regulator just banned major shareholders, executives, and directors from selling any of their shares for 6 months. Just banned it. That's how they roll in communist countries. I mean, what are you going to do? Take the government to court? Complain about it in their free press? So what does this mean? I have no clue. China has had real economic growth in so many ways. As it became the factory to the world, it lifted hundreds of millions of people out of abject poverty. It developed a real middle class, a lot of real industrial progress. But some of its growth was fake, a form of mania, a bubble. There are now more Chinese investors in the stock market than there are members of the Chinese Communist Party. But most of those investors are like a mob, just following tips and rumors. And while everything was going up, everyone was a winner. But like in Wall Street in 1929, you can't sustain the mania forever. The real estate bubble, the stock market bubble, it's popping. And a lot of people are going to lose their life savings and probably their overpriced homes. What a sad setback for that new middle class. China is already an unstable enough place as it is. Ethnic tensions, Communist Party corruption, extreme pollution, their fascist one-child policy, and of course their totalitarian approach to democratic dissent, or even just to people who believe in a religion. It's one thing to keep a fascist dictatorship going when everyone gets richer every year. It's tougher when everyone just got 30% poorer. As Wall Street's crash shows, even a great, robust, free democracy can have a crash. But it's made worse in a place with no free press, no independent courts, with no independent regulator of securities. I don't know how this couldn't slow down China's economic growth that will likely lead to slower growth for the entire world, including for countries like Canada that export raw materials like coal and potash and uranium to China. I hope it doesn't lead to a Vladimir Putin-style tactic by the Chinese Party of nationalistic adventures where the communists try to appease their population by distracting them by bullying neighbors. The world is a dangerous place, real danger from terrorist attacks and wars, but economic dangers now too. Living in Canada, one of the safest, most economically sound countries in the world, we tend to forget how lucky we are. For TheRebel.media, I'm Ezra Levant.